Welcome to Field Trials, a future farming webcast exploring innovations, issues, and perspectives in new farm technology. This is Matt, your Canadian farm kid and journalist host. Thanks for tuning in. Think Iron Man rather than Terminator. That's the analogy guest Mike Wynn, CEO of Drone Deploy, references when describing the role of ever better field analysis tools. Join the discussion as we chat about some of the company's latest tools and how the objectives of drone software have developed alongside and beyond the hardware. So you mentioned things like pests. There's obviously limitations to every technology. In the work that you guys have been doing, what have you been focused on? Maybe let's say the last couple of years, either trying to improve or have got to a point where you say, okay, maybe this is something that maybe the sales pitch 10 years ago was that it would be great for tool X, Y, or task X, Y, Z.
Yeah. How's it different?
And it didn't pan out that way.
Yeah, it's actually a great question. I mean, clearly you've been looking at the space for a while. When we started in the space, there is a lot of people very excited about very fancy sensors, multispectral, hyperspectral cameras. And what we found actually, initially, everyone that was using Drone Deploy and ag was actually using these converted cameras with NDVI. And as soon as they got the data, and they were agronomists that, hey, they understand the science of agriculture, but they're looking at the data and being like, I don't really know what this means. What does it mean when this is greener or redder, had a high indices or low one?
An interpretation gap, really.
Yeah, there was an interpretation gap. And quite quickly, we recognized from some of the other users, we heard from farmers that actually just having an RGB, a normal image of the field from above, was actually even more valuable, because they could look at it and understand, it's like, hey, it's a bit yellow, maybe a nitrogen deficiency. Mm-hmm. They could see the problems and identify them just in the same way they would with their eyes, but now they could see from 400 feet for the first time, whenever they wanted to, within a minute. And so it went from sophisticated solutions with expensive cameras that cost $30,000 on fixed wing drones that could cover more ground better, but very hard to use. You had to find special places to take off. You might need a catapult to take the drone off. They were very expensive. And it turned out that actually a simpler product that you could press a button, it would take off by itself and land by itself without any worries, and just have an RGB camera was better. And that kind of was the transition between 2013 to 2016, 17 was recognizing that the vast majority of ag data was just going to be simple RGB. There's still space for multispectral, hyperspectral, mostly in R&D, but the vast majority, I'd say on Drone Deploy, we support the fancy cameras. About 99% of ag data is RGB data. So that was the first transition. The second one was in seeing that really for the ag community, they were looking for data right then in field. And it became really important to say, hey, look, initially drones could only capture a lot of images, and then you'd have to go back to your computer in your house and process that data. And we heard from our customers saying, like, look, I've got 15 minutes in a field, and then I'm moving on to the next one. I need data then and there to help me do my job, because I'm not coming back tomorrow with the data you've given me. So can you do this in real time? And can you do it without internet? And so that was kind of the big challenge for us from about 2016 to 2018, 19, was implementing what we call a product called Live Map, which is the ability to create the map of the field in real time. So people say real time a lot. This is real time in the sense of it updates every second. And so you can, as soon as you launch the drone, within about a minute, you start to see, when it gets to the locations, you start to see kind of the lawnmower happening, revealing the field underneath. So you can immediately start walking over to any problems. And so that was the kind of from 2016 to 2019 was creating this real-time offline capability. You didn't need internet, just works on your iPad, press a button, go. And then the last thing now is it's starting to get more sophisticated with AI. And again, it has to happen offline on your device in real time right then and there. And so that's the stand count product, was you fly, it captures the data, and it processes on your iPhone or iPad to count all those plants.
So there's a company near me, just a kind of a local agronomic company, and one thing that a number of years ago they were working on was just trying to identify foreign objects in the field, like especially people that have farms near very busy highways and things, just like cans and chunks of metal and just junk that if you ran your combine through it, then you got yourself a problem.
Yeah.
But Your description just reminded me of that.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. I hope you got something out of the conversation. As ever, the idea is to explore topics, items, and perspectives in the ag tech space. So if you're interested in sharing your own perspective and joining us for a conversation, feel free to get in touch with the Future Farming team at futurefarming.com. You can also reach me directly at FurRural on Twitter. That's at FERRURAL on Twitter, or via ruralphilosopher.com. Thanks again for listening.